My name is Liam, and if this is your first time on this channel, well, I make videos about interior design and home decorating, making your place feel comfortable and feel cozy. It's been a while since I started making videos for this channel, and it's been a while since I last made a video for this channel. And the reason is pretty simple. We've been in the process for the past year and a half. We've been in the process of looking for a home of our own. Something that we could purchase and own, at least own a part of it. And I'm incredibly proud to say that we now own our own home. We bought a townhome in February of this year in the greater Seattle area, a place that we've lived for over 8 years now. It feels like the end of one chapter, the end of one part of our story, and the start of another. I want to get into some things in this video related to how we got here and what our outlook is going forward. But I wanted to start with that because a lot of what I've been doing on this channel over the years has been me in my apartment. It's been me doing what I can with furniture, with a little bit of decoration, building a few things here and there, what I could do essentially. And there are tons of videos on YouTube and online where people have done some really amazing things with their apartment or wherever they're renting, right? And I always felt a little frustrated because I felt like I couldn't go all the way, if you know what I mean, in terms of the decorating and the renovations that I want to make. But now we own our own home, and we're super, super excited, Hannah and I, to make this our own. So I'm gonna get into a few things here, but I just wanted to start with that. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to this restart that you're gonna see. Hello there. This is our dog Bramble. He's a standard poodle, and he likes pets and hugs. Good boy. So yes, we bought a townhome, and it has 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, actually 2.5 bathrooms. Our current place where we were renting has only 1 bathroom that is shared. And so we're in a place now where we're gonna have more space than we've ever had before. I'm sitting in the living room. It's not a huge living room, but what's cool about having your own home is that you have a lot more space, you have a lot more spaces, and just the ability to, I think, not be living on top of yourself. And if you live in an apartment, which many people do, you'll know what I mean when I say that, living on top of yourself. It has felt like whenever we want to do creative projects in an apartment, whenever we want to do something new or something different, it's this huge process of, putting away some things or getting out some things from the closet, getting out tons of boxes from the closet that we use for art or we use for woodworking or for making things, and making a big mess in our apartment, and then having to, at the end of all that, at the end of the day or the end of the next day, put it all back so that we can have a functional living space. And that's a really annoying thing to me because for me and for my wife, we're both creative people. My wife went to art school. We like to make things, but it can feel like you don't get to enjoy your hobbies as much as you would because you have to keep storing all this stuff and then, getting it out when you want to use it. And you never really have both a place where you can be creative and also a place where you can be proud of what your home looks like, right? A place where it looks good and it feels clean and feels nice, but you also get to do creative things. And so one of the things we're really excited with a big space like this is that we have spaces to be able to do creative things. The whole process here of making this into our own home is going to involve us being creative. You can see some paint on the wall behind me, right? We started getting some supplies to start some painting here. And you want some food? I need to feed him. Okay, we're back. But yes, we now have plenty of space, as much space as we feel we would really ever need to, have like office spaces where I can do creative stuff with photography, and where my wife can have her own space and do stuff with knitting and sewing and spinning yarn and all of that kind of stuff. So it's really, really exciting to be able to have those spaces. Those are actually upstairs. And also be able to make our living space, make our dining space, make our entryway, make our master bedroom our own, and make them have their own style, their own feeling, their own order and organization. So that's really exciting. And yeah, we've really only ever lived in apartments that were between about 750 square feet and 850 square feet. So this at 1,250 square feet, it's not massive, it's not huge, but in a place like Seattle, this feels like a really perfect amount of space for us. And that brings me to Seattle. We moved up to Seattle about 8.5 years ago, and we both came from Texas. I'm from Houston, and it's been, I think, nothing short of an awesome experience living in Washington. It's expensive, of course, to live here, but in terms of the quality of life that you get, in terms of the lifestyle that you get, I don't know if it can be matched anywhere in the country. So we love living here. We love, getting to go on the ferry to go see family. We love getting to go on walks, go out into nature. We love just seeing trees around, seeing mountains around when we're driving to work, right? It's really special. And we're really, really excited to be living here and to commit to the next however many years here. This is our first home, right? This is our first place. So we know generally how homeownership is supposed to work, right? You're supposed to start with one place. You will eventually, move to a different place, move to a different house. Especially our parents' generation, they had this experience of kind of going to the next one and going to the next one. So we'll see if it turns out like that for us. But all I can say is that we're excited to get started. We're excited to finally be in our own place in Seattle. I want to talk about debt, because this has been a really big part of my journey personally. My wife was very fortunate to be able to go to university and not have debt coming out of that. But for me and for my family, me and my brother, we both went to school, and our parents helped us, which was really nice, but we also had debt coming out of it. And I'll be totally honest, it was about $40,000 in debt, which is not obscene, but it is quite a lot of money. And we moved up here, Hannah and I, with that debt. I had that debt, and it really felt like this weight on my shoulders. It feels like, I've heard it described as like a bag that you can't put down, right? That you're always carrying. You've always got it slung over your shoulder. And I can certainly relate to that. It feels like you have a backpack on that's always kind of there. And so I got to some point when we were living up here in Washington where I was really angry that I had this debt. I was really angry that this problem was gonna stick with me and persist with me for forever, right? The idea that I would just have it for decades was upsetting to me. And I think that it's really important that I got to that place, that I got to a place where it made me angry. When I moved up here, I have a business degree, not from business school, but just from undergrad, so Bachelor of Science in Business and Marketing. But when I moved up here, I actually started working with kids in the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA. And I loved that work so much that I decided to become a teacher. And the process of going from Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, to becoming a teacher is kind of a long one. Like, there are some accelerated programs, and mine was certainly somewhat accelerated. I didn't go to school for this, right? I didn't go to school to become a teacher, but having to get that alternate pathway certification, it's a process, right? And I've slowly worked my way up from a position where I've had like a low paying job to now where I feel very happy with what I'm earning. And I think that this is relevant to the discussion about debt, because I couldn't have gotten to the place where I am now, where I was able to put down a significant chunk for the down payment for this home. I couldn't have saved up that money if I didn't first attack the debt. And I think that if anyone's watching this who has a lot of debt, I want to repeat, you've got to get angry about it. You've got to not accept it. And I think it's got to be that one thing on your mind that is always on your mind. It's got to be that one thing that when you wake up in the morning, it's like, nope, that is a problem. I need to get rid of it. And it was that feeling of wanting to get rid of the debt that helped me to really focus on paying it off as I was slowly starting to earn more. And this is not an easy thing. Like, I don't want to downplay this and just say, well, yeah, just get a higher paying job and you'll be able to pay off debt faster. But I think it is important to be looking for how can you get a higher paying job. What are the jobs that are higher paying, right? For your area, for your stage in where you are in your career, for what's available, right? I think that that's really important. I think the other thing that's important is having a mindset of frugality, and this actually doesn't come naturally to me, but I'm very lucky to be with someone like my wife, Hannah, who has a very, I would say, frugal mindset. She's not wanting for things that she doesn't really need, which is a nice place to be in. You know, she doesn't waste her money on things that she doesn't really want. And that can feel a bit radical in today's world, right? Where it's so easy to purchase things, it's so easy to get whatever you want. It can feel radical to say, no, I'm gonna wait a few days. I'm gonna wait a month and see if I still want it. For my part, this meant only buying like a used car. Like, for the longest time, I had a car that my grandparents gave me when I got out of high school. Eventually I got a used car up here that was like $1,000, $2,000, something like that, and it needed constant work. And then my most recent car is one that was also used, is from 2006. So at this rate, it's 20 years old. You know, it needs work and it needs attention every once in a while. So I think my point with saying that is that I didn't get the car payment for a new car. I saved up a few $1,000s to be able to get a used car. I tend to not buy a whole lot of stuff that I don't really need. I still like to make, some fun purchases here and there, a piece of clothing or something that I like. Books I like to buy, but generally, that's about it. I like I like photography, I like cameras, so that stuff has really been the real splurge items that I've had. But besides that, it hasn't been like I'm buying super expensive pieces of furniture, or that I'm buying super expensive clothing or tons of new shoes and things like this. I don't know what everybody spends their money on, but I think that you can do with not spending tons of money on these things. And so that mindset, right, coupled with for one summer working for DoorDash to try to earn some extra money, coupled with doing I think 1 or 2 other years where I did a summer job between school years as a teacher and as an educator, that has allowed me to pay off that debt. And getting those letters from the bank, getting those letters from the loan companies rather, is one of the coolest things that can ever happen. And so I'll wrap this up by just saying that if you have debt, if you have an amount of debt that you feel is a lot, but something that you could attack, do not wait to attack it, right? Because the sooner you're past that, the sooner you're able to start saving for other things. And for my part, I never thought I'd be able to save up as much money as I did to be able to help purchase this house, and I did. So I'm saying that partly because I'm impressed myself with what I was able to do, and I'm proud of myself for that, but I also say it because it could be for you, right? I'll leave it there. The last thing I want to mention here is that as someone who loves thinking about the environment around us, your physical space, obviously nature outside, but especially the space that we can kind of influence, the space where we live, this is the most exciting thing, the most excited I've ever felt in a very, very long time. I love projects. When I was a kid, I loved to build with Legos, and I had this saying that my brother hated, which was break and remake. So you buy the Lego set, you break it, and you make it into something new. Because I just loved that process of trying and building something different and trying to put the pieces together to create something. And this feels like that. It feels like being a kid again, where every wall, every surface, every part of this home, I envision what it could be and what I want it to be. So I'm incredibly excited. But I want to share something as well, and that's that I've kind of always tried to do some of these things wherever I've lived. And I've tried to make our place cozy. And my wife and I have, I think, succeeded in making our place cozy wherever we were. Smaller apartment, slightly bigger apartment. And then now here, I'm confident that we can make it that way. I think wherever you are and wherever I will be, it's important that we recognize that you have to make the most of the space that you have. I don't think that you can just do cookie cutter things where the stuff that works for a small apartment will always work for a bigger place, because you need to be cognizant of the space, the amount of room you have, the type of furniture you need that will fit that room, the type of decorating, how high are the ceilings, the type of floors, all of this stuff. And a lot of that when you're renting is out of your control. So the point is, make your home, wherever it is, make it special to you. Put some of yourself into it. And that could mean you making things for it. That could mean you making artwork for it. It could mean textiles, you know, sewing something, learning to sew like a throw blanket or something. Whatever it might be, put a little bit of you in it, and that's really where your home will be. So, welcome back to the channel. This is part 1, chapter 1, Home at Last, and I'll see you in the next video where we start to tackle some of the things that we're going to do in this home. I'll see you in the next one. What do you think of that, Bramble? How'd I do, dog?